The Institution of Engineers Malaysia, or IEM, is the premier professional organization committed to excellence in engineering. Founded in 1959, IEM promotes and advances the science and profession of engineering in all its disciplines. Our members have been instrumental in the growth of Malaysia, having contributed to the sustainable socio-economic development across the country. IEM is one of the largest professional bodies in Malaysia. Membership is growing rapidly each year. The membership of IEM consists of two classes, namely corporate members and non-corporate members. The institution accepts only the highest standards in admitting corporate members into the institution. Applicants have to go through stringent interviews, and acceptance is based on experience and credentials. IEM only accepts qualifications from institutions recognized by the Engineering Accreditation Council of Malaysia, EAC. IEM has signed MOUs and agreements of cooperation with local and foreign institutions, universities, local councils to cement closer inter-institution cooperation. Since 1997, the institution has become the hub of engineering cooperation in the region. IEM hosts the Secretariat of the ASEAN Engineering Register AER and processes applications from IEM members for the APEC or International Professional Engineer Registers. The institution shares its views pertaining engineering matters and policies with various government ministries and agencies, relevant stakeholders, as well as the general public. IEM issues position papers on engineering matters that are of concern to the profession and the community. IEM has various technical divisions and special interest groups to cover the whole spectrum of engineering disciplines. The Young Engineer Section YES caters for activities for graduate and student members. The IEM Women Engineers Section celebrates the contribution of women in engineering, science and technology. IEM has a solid network across Malaysia. In addition to its headquarters that caters to its members in the Klang Valley, IEM has 12 other branches nationwide. To service the needs and interests of its members, the institution conducts regular technical conferences, seminar, workshops, and technical visits to uphold the quality of engineering. The IEM Awards are created to confer recognition to an individual, organization, or body for an engineering achievement in Malaysia. The institution offers the IEM Scholarship to deserving Malaysian engineering students to further their studies at local universities. IEM publishes biannual journals and monthly bulletins named the Jurutera for circulation to its members. The world is changing at an accelerating rate, and so is engineering. IEM will ensure that Malaysia's engineering capabilities will give it the edge to be the significant player not only in the ASEAN region but also globally.
Persons who started it in 1957 when I came back from India. Well, the formation I started in 1957 and there were about 20 of us. And the people that supported me were the telecoms.
60th anniversary of the IEM.
Organization of the 60th anniversary of IEM.
I would like to congratulate IEM for the 60 years anniversary.
I would like to congratulate IEM on their 60th anniversary.
I would like to wish IEM the best for the next 60 years. Congratulations.
I would like to congratulate IEM on their 60th anniversary celebration.
I'd like to congratulate IEM on the 60th anniversary.
Walk on, we have our courage on. We will not be shaken by this road less taken. Come on, this is where we belong. The world is beckoning, let's not keep it waiting. Come on ladies, let the whole world see the beauty of our brilliance. We're gonna make the difference. Shine on, our work will glow for eons. The world shining beacons, we're the rarest diamonds. Go on, we will keep going on. Nothing can stop us with the heart of a lioness. Come on ladies, let the whole world see the beauty of our brilliance. We're gonna make the difference. Every barrier and on we will engineer a better world. On and on and on, we will conquer every frontier. We will build a better future. We are on the right track. There's no need to look back. Time to cast away your doubts. Time to make the world proud.
Well, actually, I joined the engineering fraternity by accident. I wanted to be either an accountant or computer engineers, but somehow they thought that I will make a better engineer. However, now that I'm here, I wouldn't change it for the world, because being an engineer helped me to be very clear on things, structured, and always look at the end result, meaning to say it is outcome based, looking at impact and all that. I remember when I first started to learn how to conduct land survey, we had to carry all the tripods and all that. My classmates, they didn't differentiate me, so I had to bring, and they treat me as if I'm one of them. But number one, we outside should portray that we are capable. Once we portray to them, oh, I'm a woman, I cannot carry this, carry that, I don't think they will respect you for that. So I'm not trying to say that we have to be men to be an engineer. It is gender blood. But you have to be able to send a signal that you are capable.
IEM Convention in Engineer will be the must-go-to event for the engineering community and industry. We look forward to welcoming you to Engineer 2021.
Welcome to the launching ceremony of the IEM new membership grades. We appreciate if you could keep your face mask on at all times. We would like to inform that this auditorium has 3 emergency exit doors, one on your left, one on your right, and one at the back. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are greatly honored to have with us this morning many distinguished guests to witness the launching of the new grades of IEM membership catered specially for the engineering technologists and engineering technicians. This will be another milestone achievement in the history of IEM. We are pleased to inform that our program this morning is also broadcasted live through IEM webinar as well as YouTube. We have our council members, past presidents, representatives from institutions of higher learning, as well as students attending online together with us this morning. We thank you all for your tremendous support. For your information, today's program will comprise of the launching ceremony, which begins soon. Thereafter, we will have 2 presentations on the pathway towards professional and international recognition for the engineering technologists and engineering technicians. After the presentation, we will arrange a question and answer session with our panel speakers and committee members. Participants attending online will be able to pose questions to the panel to obtain more information about the pathways presented. At the same time, you may scan the QR code appearing on your screen at the end of the event to submit your details, and our secretariat will contact you soon. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed with our program this morning. Without further ado, we would like to invite the chairman of the IEM Task Force for Engineering Technologists and Engineering Technician, who is also the organizing committee chair for today's event, Engineer Pham Yu Hit, to say a few words. Engineer Pham, the floor is yours.
Engineer Ong Chin Lun, the President of the Institution of Engineers Malaysia. Engineer Professor Dr. Nolida Buni Yamin, the Deputy President of the Institution of Engineers Malaysia. Also on the capacity as the Chair Lady for the Engineering Technology Accreditation Council today. Past Presidents, Vice Presidents, distinguished guests, my beloved ExCom and Council members, Council colleagues, as well as to all participants who are joining this launching, both physically and virtually across the country. Salam sejahtera and selamat pagi. It gives me great pleasure to welcome all of you to the launching of the IEM new membership grade this morning. On behalf of the organizing committee, as well as the institution, we are greatly honored to have with us this morning special guests to witness this important milestone together. They are Yang Bahagia Datuk Engineer Muhammad Adnan bin Muhammad Noor, President of SEM, together with Engineer Sundaraj, the Deputy President of SEM, Engineer Muhammad Noramil, the Executive Director of Board of Engineers, Malaysia, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Bamjit Singh, the President of Malaysian Service Providers Confederation, Engineer Yam Tiong Sian, the President of Technological Association of Malaysia, who is also our ESCOM member, Mr. Hamdan bin Sama, President of the Construction Inspector of Works Association, Malaysia, Dr. Sri Eric Kwan, Secretary General of Master Builders Association, T.S. Dr. Julius Mervin, Pengarah Marine Training Institute, Mr. Raja Segaran, Vice President of the Electrical and Electronic Association of Malaysia, Professor Samso Kama Abu Sama, the Head of National Aerospace Coordinating Office, NICO, Inji Asmi Muhammad Zain, the Chief Operating Officer of the Rabbit Rail Syndrome Berhad, Mr. Teh Leong Leng, Council Member of the Federation of Malaysian Manufacturers, representatives from government agencies, GLCs, associations, and companies. I'm not able to acknowledge each and every one of the guests in this room due to time constraint, but on behalf of IEM, we would like to record our sincere appreciation for your presence this morning. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, there's a saying, no one can whistle a symphony. It takes a whole orchestra to play it. Engineers, engineering technologies, and engineering technicians are all important components in the chains of engineering workforce. We have been working together in delivering results in project development and nation building. Hence, to promote the close cooperation, it is important that we create and provide an effective platform for engineers, technologies, and technicians to come together, to interact, to grow in knowledge, as well as to develop fellowship. IEM started initiating the process of establishing the new membership since 2017. I would like to thank the President, the Deputy President, and the leadership of IEM for realizing the goal. I would also like to thank the Council and the members of IEM for their support in the process, while not forgetting the past leadership in IEM that mooted and planted the seed. It is our hope that with the inclusion of the new memberships, the engineering fraternity will continue to grow in strength. Ladies and gentlemen, it will not make justice if I do not acknowledge the team that has worked day and night for the past few weeks in preparing for this launching. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the subcommittee, the task force, and the secretariat for their hard work. I would like to share that almost the entire things that you see today is the fruit and is the result of the entire group, be it engineers, technicians, or technologies together with the secretariat. It is a good illustration of the teamwork of engineers, technologies, and technicians. Last but not least, I would like to thank all of our guests here today, as well as all participants in the auditorium as well as online. I hope you will enjoy this morning program. Before I end my speech, I would like to read now a quote from Henry Ford. Coming together is a beginning. Staying together is a progress. And working together is success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Engineer Pham. We are pleased to now invite the Chairman of the IEM Standing Committee on Admissions and Practical Training, Engineer Dr. Tan Chi Fai, to deliver his welcome speech.
Okay. A very good morning. Engineer Ong Ching Lun, the President of the Institution of Engineers Malaysia. Engineer Professor Dr. Norida Bunia Yamin, the Deputy President of the Institute of Engineers Malaysia. Distinguished guests, IEM Executive Committee members and council members, as well as all the IEM members in the virtual platform or in here. Ladies and gentlemen, salam sejahtera and a very good morning to all. Welcome to the launching of IEM new membership grades. Thank you for joining us in this morning for this very important event, as well as we welcome 2 new groups of technical personnel into IEM. We have been working on this initiative for the last 4 years, and today is very happy occasion for us being able to officially announce these new membership grades. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the completion of an engineering project requires the cooperation and collaboration between many parties, but the engineering team remains as the backbone of these successful achievements. And this engineering team comprises the 3 groups of technical personnel: the engineers, the engineering technologists, and the engineering technician, to bring an engineering design to fruition. As such, we need to ensure that all 3 components of the engineering team are taken care of in terms of training, development, growth, and recognition. There has been in existence for the past many years a pathway for engineers to achieve professionalism. We have now prepared a similar pathway for the engineering technologists and technicians to receive training and development for their growth and recognition, so as to ensure the competence and professionalism of the whole engineering team. Our new grades of membership comprises of 4 categories, namely engineering technologies graduate member for newly graduated engineering technology degree holders, and engineering technician graduate member for newly graduated engineering diploma holders. Thereon, IEM will provide guidance through our logbook scheme for the engineering technologists and engineering technician. Once they have completed the necessary period of working experience, they can apply to sit for an assessment at IEM to be upgraded to engineering technologist member or engineering technician member. IEM is currently applying for provisional signatory of 2 international agreements, which will recognize the engineering technologist member or engineering technician member and enable them to be registered in the international register. IEM will continue to strive to bring more benefits and recognition to all members of IEM, and I take this opportunity to welcome all engineering technologists and engineering technicians to join our IEM family. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to all our guests attending our launching today, whether you are in virtual or physically, as well as all the members, students, and lecturers who are attending online as well. Last but not least, I also would like to express my big thanks to the task force of the engineering technologists and technicians, as well as the IEM security staff who make this today event a big success. Thank you, and we hope everyone will stay safe and healthy. Okay.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tan. Ladies and gentlemen, the Standing Committee on Admissions and Practical Training has great pleasure to invite IEM President, Engineer Ong Ching Lun, to the stage to present the launching speech. Let's put our hands together to welcome Engineer Ong Ching Lun.
Thank you. Dr. Engineer Muhammad Adan bin Muhammad Noor, President, the Associations of Consulting Engineers Malaysia, ACEM. Engineer Muhammad Noramil, Executive Director of the Board of Engineers Malaysia. Encik Hamdan bin Sama Elias Osman, President, Construction Inspector Works Associations of Malaysia, Kovan. TS Dr. Julius Melvi Mobilate, Director, Marine Training Institute. Dato Pramjit Singh, President, Malaysia Service Provider Confederation, MSPC. Dato Sri Eric Kwang Kian Ling, Secretary General, Master Builders Associations of Malaysia, MBAM. Professor Samsu Kama Abu Sama, Head, National Aerospace Coordinating Office, NICO. Engineer Yam Tiong Sian, President, Technology Associations of Malaysia, TEM. Mr. Rajesh Garan, Vice President, the Electrical and Electronic Associations of Malaysia, TEAM. Encik Asmi bin Muhammad Zain, Chief Operating Officer, Rapid Rail, Sdn Bhd. IEM Deputy President, Vice President, Past President, Council Member, Representative of government agencies, associations, and companies, yang berbahagia Datuk-Datuk, distinguished guests, fellow engineers, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Institutions of Engineers Malaysia, I would like to wish all of you a very good morning and salam sejahtera. Thank you all for taking time off your busy schedule on this Saturday morning to join us for this very important milestone of IEM. As you may be aware, IEM will be celebrating our 62 years of anniversary in 2 weeks' time on the 17th of April this year. IEM was formed on the 1st of May 1959, about 20 months after Malaysia achieved independence. Over the last 62 years, we have expanded from the very initial of 20 members to nearly 53,000 members today. IEM's objective is to promote and advance the science and professions in all aspects of engineering. In keeping with this objective, our vision is to be the premier learned engineering society, championing the adoptions of ethics and professional best practices in all sectors of the industry. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the engineering industry has since the independence of the country been the prime mover of the nation buildings. We in the engineering industry had placed tremendous effort, being the unsung hero in the society, in the country's development. More often than not, the public associate engineering with construction in terms of infrastructure such as road, railway, trains, and high-rise scrappers. But in actual fact, engineering is everywhere. It can be considered the backbone of the national growth. Engineering contributes towards the nation building, wealth creation, and improvement of the quality of life of all Malaysians in many ways, from providing electricity, clean water, and sufficient food supply for the people, to better and more well-equipped housing, connectivity in terms of telecommunication and transport, and the ability to complete work more efficiency, and many others. The chain reaction of our engineering achievement is very great. With the increase in job opportunities to cater for this growth, it has also necessitated to have a better education to produce the technical personnel, all human resource to sustain the growth and en route to Malaysia achieving developed nation status. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, over the years, IEM have been very focused on developing the skills and professionalism of engineers by organizing technical lectures, courses, conferences, workshops, etc. We have come to realize that this is not sufficient. As I mentioned at the beginning of my speech, IEM's objective is to promote and advance the science and profession of all aspects of engineering. And when we refer to engineering, we need to remember that the whole scope of engineering encompassing the two other groups of technical personnel which help to complete the engineering project, namely the engineering technologies and the engineering technician. And these two groups of technical personnel enable the design of the engineers to be realized by bringing the design to fruition for the benefits of the mankind. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, IEM started the process to embrace these two new groups of technical personnel into IEM family in 2017. The process included amending the IEM constitution, which required it to be presented at our AGM, and having it to be voted by all the corporate members of the institution, and thereafter getting it approved by the Registrar of Societies. Finally, on 6 November 2020, last year, we received approval from the Registrar of Society for us to admit these technical personnel as member of IEM. We will expand the guidance and training which has been provided to the engineers to include the engineering technologies and also engineering technician, and to provide a pathway for their professional development similar to that of engineers. Last month, IEM had officially submitted our application for signatory status of the two agreements, namely the International Engineering Technologies Agreement and the Agreements of International Engineering Technicians. The applications for signatory status representing Malaysia was done with the blessing of the Board of Engineers Malaysia, and for that, we wish to thank BEM for agreeing to allow IEM to represent Malaysia. We hope that with these two agreements, IEM will also be able to provide international recognition for achievement by Malaysian engineering technologies and also engineering technicians, as well as to promote international mobility for them. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, today marks a very important milestone for IEM as we launch these two new grades of memberships. And I wish to express my sincere gratitude to all of you and all our guests and the members of the council, ESCOM, and engineering students witnessing the launching here in IEM, as well as online through our webinar. Your support has been tremendous, and we look forward to your continued support here on while we strive to promote competence and professionalism in the engineering industry. I would like to thank the committee, in particular Dr. Tan Chi Fai, the chairman of our APT Standing Committee, and Engineer Pham Yu Hin, the chairman of the task force of this committee, who organized today's event, as they have been working very hard, not only to ensure today's success of this event, I was also informed that they did our launching video all on their own. And that is tremendous. Let us put a round of applause for them. Okay. This is the commitment of the IEM committee member, which I truly respect. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, thank you once again for being here today. And I wish everyone good health as we are still very much being affected by the global pandemic. Take care, stay safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Engineer Ong. Kindly remain on stage for the launching gimmick. We would now like to request Engineer Ong to initiate the launching of the 2 new grades of membership for engineering technologists and engineering technicians towards professionalism globally.
Engineering Technologists is a very important team member in our engineering team. They are very good in the field of operations.
As an engineer technologist, I use these special tools to extract some of the parts that are contained inside the aircraft engines.
As a technologist, one of my duties is to carry out periodic battery capacity checks.
I am extremely delighted to announce the new grade of IEM membership, which is Engineering Technologists and Engineering Technician. IEM had in the last 4 years prepared for the inclusion of these grades of technical personnel into Institution of Engineers Malaysia. We hope to provide guidance and growth to them as they provide critical support to the engineers in completing each project.
It gives me a great pleasure to welcome the engineering technologies, engineering technicians and engineers into IEM family. IEM is committed towards the professional development and advancement of all the technical personnel in the engineering industry.
Ladies and gentlemen, our launching program has ended here. Thank you for being here with us this morning to witness the launching. We would now like to invite our VIP guests to have some tea. To maintain the social distancing SOP, please exit according to the row starting from row 1. While our participants online are presented with the pathways for engineering technologies and technicians towards professional recognition locally and internationally. Please note that there will be a question and answer session after the presentation. This Q&A session is specially conducted for the online participant and the hall will be closed. Please enjoy the tea session. Thank you.
The Institution of Engineers Malaysia, or IEM, is the premier professional organization committed to excellence in engineering. Founded in 1959, IEM promotes and advances the science and profession of engineering in all its disciplines. Our members have been instrumental in the growth of Malaysia, having contributed to the sustainable socio-economic development across the country. IEM is one of the largest professional bodies in Malaysia. Membership is growing rapidly each year. The membership of IEM consists of two classes, namely corporate members and non-corporate members. The institution accepts only the highest standards in admitting corporate members into the institution. Applicants have to go through stringent interviews and acceptance is based on experience and credentials. IEM only accepts qualifications from institutions recognized by the Engineering Accreditation Council of Malaysia, EAC. IEM has signed MOUs and agreements of cooperation with local and foreign institutions, universities, local councils to cement closer inter-institution cooperation. Since 1997, the institution has become the hub of engineering cooperation in the region. IEM hosts the Secretariat of the ASEAN Engineering Register AER and processes applications from IEM members for the APEC or International Professional Engineer Registers. The institution shares its views pertaining engineering matters and policies with various government ministries and agencies, relevant stakeholders, as well as the general public. IEM issues position papers on engineering matters that are of concern to the profession and the community. IEM has various technical divisions and special interest groups to cover the whole spectrum of engineering disciplines. The Young Engineer Section YES caters for activities for graduate and student members. The IEM Women Engineer Section celebrates the contribution of women in engineering, science and technology. IEM has a solid network across Malaysia. In addition to its headquarters that caters to its members in the Klang Valley, IEM has 12 other branches nationwide. To service the needs and interests of its members, the institution conducts regular technical conferences, seminar, workshops, and technical visits to uphold the quality of engineering. The IEM Awards are created to confer recognition to an individual, organization, or body for an engineering achievement in Malaysia. The institution offers the IEM Scholarship to deserving Malaysian engineering students to further their studies at local universities. IEM publishes biannual journals and monthly bulletins named the Jurutera for circulation to its members. The world is changing at an accelerating rate, and so is engineering. IEM will ensure that Malaysia's engineering capabilities will give it the edge to be the significant player not only in the ASEAN region but also globally.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Institution of Engineers President, Engineer Ong Chin Lun, we would like to welcome all participants that are present today for this inaugural launching of a new membership grade in IEM. Today is a very special day because in the past many years, we have known that engineering team consists, not only the good engineers, but there are also another group of people or expertise. We call them engineering technologists. And why is this so important? Because the engineers have been designing things and doing research on engineering products and processes. And what happened after that is that they actually hand it over to another group of expertise who are going to implement the work. And this is the group that we are going to launch and induct them into IEM today. So in short, the time is right. The rules is there. The Malaysian Registration of Engineers Act is there. The platform and mechanism are available, IEM, and the people, the engineering technologists, are also available out in the industry. So today is a very significant event, Today is a very significant event to the engineering fraternity because this is the time that IEM officially recruit them, this group of engineering technologists into IEM with a new membership grade, the engineering technologists grade. So today, with humbleness and gratitude, may I present to you a short presentation or short briefing about the engineering technologies. Now, let's ponder back in our everyday life. Imagine today we wake up in the morning, we go to the bathroom. After that, we go to the kitchen and prepare our breakfast. We take shower, we drive our car, we go to work, we go through the office, we start our computers and start working. Let's ponder back. What is so significant in all these activities that we actually do every day? What is the significant thing that affect us? If we take a look about the surrounding that we have, the house day, the lights that we switch on, the water heater that we turn on, the car that we drive, the escalator that we ride to our office, the power and electrical system that we have in our office, in our building, it is all part of the engineering contribution. I wouldn't be able to imagine what the life will be today if there is no engineering in the world. So engineering has been in the past, created a very, very significant impact to our daily life. Let's look at this slide. Do you all recognize who are they? Do you all recognize who are they? The person on the left is actually Leonardo da Vinci. I'm very sure all of us have heard about him. The other person on to the right of Leonardo da Vinci is Nikola Tesla, the famous engineer. And the two person on the right are actually the Wright brothers, Orville and Wilbur Wright. And I'm very sure that you know Leonardo da Vinci came up with a lot of inventions. Yeah, he is an engineer. Yeah, he also builds the equipments or his design. Yeah, and Nikola Tesla is also an engineer. And the Wright brothers, not only they were able to design, they were also able to build the powered airplane. The airplanes that we fly in today, the concepts and the principles came from the Wright brothers. So if you look at this picture here, these are the engineers who have actually impacted our life. They were actually the part of the engineering team member. Not only they are good in designing, but they were also very good in building up and develop what they have designed or drawn in their sketch. Okay. Now, it is known, yeah, in the history of mankind, engineering and technology advancement, yeah, is actually the pillar of a nation's development. You name it, whether it is United States, whether it is Japan, whether it is German, whether it's in UK, or even very much in Malaysia, yeah, engineering and technology advancement is actually the pillar of the nation's development. I still can remember back in the history after independence, IEM actually slowly came into the system and became one of the key driver of our developing of the Malaysian infrastructure, whether it is on the road, on the building construction, on the bridges, or even on the dams, on the power generation. All this has become significant to the Malaysian environment. Now, let's talk about engineering technologies. Yeah, let's talk about engineering technologies. A lot of people, even till today, still don't understand what is engineering technologies is. Yeah, but actually, the engineering technology program, yeah, engineering technology program, actually had his humble beginning in the 1950s, starting in the United States and Canada. So this actually this was the time where after the launching of a Russian Sputnik 1 satellite, the American engineering program has actually branched into two. One side of the engineering program actually leans very heavily on the research and design, where there are drawings, they are heavily involved in mathematics and science. And the other part, it is actually not so heavy on the mathematics and science, but more heavier on the application side. Application means you construct and you build whatever that has been designed. So that is actually slowly being classified into the as part of the engineering technology program. So if you look at the engineering and technologies spectrum of work on this slide, you can see more towards on the left-hand side where it involves product design and research. This is where the engineers are very heavy on. Yeah, but as you go towards the right-hand side, product development, manufacturing, product testing, even the technical sales and all those, you realize that this group of people are actually who are doing this kind of tasks are actually engineering technologies. So together, the engineers and engineering technologies and also the engineering technician, this actually has been identified as the crucial engineering team. In any country, in any nation, this group, you will find these three group of people in the engineering fraternity. Together, they will actually develop and help to build the industry, to build the nation. Now, this special group of people, the engineering team, uses the concepts of engineering and technology knowledge, skills, and experience to build a safer, better quality and living standards for mankind. So it is a very special group of people where they have learned up the appropriate knowledge and the skills for to develop the engineering and technology products and processes so that we have a better life. Now, again, I mentioned here, the engineering team member consists of engineers, engineering technologies, which we are promoting now, and also the engineering technician that we are also promoting today. Now, just like a three-legged bench, yeah, the engineering team, if you want to use a metaphor to describe it, it is just like a three-legged bench. One leg of it is consists of the engineers, the other leg consists of the engineering technologies, and the third leg consists of the engineering technician. If you take out yeah, any of these leg, yeah, you will realize that the tools will actually the stool will actually collapse. Yeah, the stool will actually collapse. Similarly, like in any other engineering projects, if you want it to be successful, whether it is a water dam project, whether it is a construction project, whether it is actually a power plant project, whether it is actually an airplane production projects, the success of these projects highly depending on every team member, yeah, every team member of the engineering team. Now, we like to emphasize here, because a lot of people still get confused, cannot understand and cannot differentiate what is the role of engineers and what is engineering technologies. So this slide here, I'm going to share with you. On the left-hand side, you can see engineers are very much involved in the product design and product research. This is where they do a lot of mathematical calculations. They go deep into the design perspective of a particular product or even a project or even a process. So what happened is that after the engineers has designed the product, say, for example, he will actually pass to it to engineering technologies. Now, engineering technologies will actually implement the design work, usually very much on the field. So you can see here on the slide here, the engineering technologies are on site. You know, for example, like in the communication tower, they are trying to implement a new system or a new design in the communication side. And you can see on the top diagram, you can see this engineering technologies right out on the field that is actually be involved in implementing what has been designed by the engineer on the construction site, on the road, on the highway side, or on the road, etc. Again, this is also a picture to give you a broader picture. Engineers design, does a product design and do research, and eventually he will actually pass it to the engineering technologies to carry the same drawing and the specification and build it or implement the design work. On the left hand side, you can see the engineering technologies, you know, accessing the internal of the engines, you know, using the computers because of certain design or certain development that the engineers actually pass on to the engineering technologies to look into. Similarly, in the oil and gas industry, you will also see the engineering technologies, yeah, performing specific field tasks, yeah, on the construction side or on the oil field side, yeah. So generally, this engineering technology started in Malaysia is actually back in 2015, where the Registration of Engineers Act 1967, Amendment 2015, has actually included a new registration under the Board of Engineers, actually the registration for engineering technologies, and also the registration for inspector of works, which is actually the engineering technician. Malaysia itself is actually are well aligned with the International Engineering Alliance, and actually Malaysia, represented by the Board of Engineers, actually is a signatory of Sydney Accord back in 2018. So what IEM is doing now is actually fully in alignment with what the regulatory body is actually practicing or registering, which is actually the engineering technologies. we are actually fully aligned with the Board of Engineers to accept the new grade of membership to IEM, which is actually the engineering technologies. Now, the engineering technologies practice in many fields. You know, probably last time people are not so aware, but if you look at the job description in Malaysia, most of the people, most of the engineering practitioner are actually engineering technologists practicing in the field of automotive, practicing in the field of construction, locomotive, aerospace, aviation, electronics, mechanical engineering, manufacturing and assembly, transportation, even the building services and environmental. All these actually are places where the engineering technologies practice the profession of implementing engineering work in the field. Basically, an engineering technologist uses some of the same skills, some of the same skill, though the engineers are very much more heavy on the mathematics and theoretical science, whereas technologies is very less rigorous, less rigorous in terms of mathematics and theoretical science. They are actually much more implementer or actually practical people who apply the engineering design right on the field. So we actually use a very common word for the engineering technologies. They are actually the implementer of design and research work from the engineers. So actually engineers and engineering technologies, they actually work hand in hand to ensure the successful of any engineering project, eventually. So what the engineer devises, the engineering technologies act upon it. So an engineering technologies, some of the work scope are involved are actually construct, they maintain, they do repairs, they do servicing, they do testing, they do commissioning, they do development. All these tasks here is actually considered the implementation of engineering work of all devices, system, and inventions that the engineers has designed or drawn. The focus is always on the implementation and application, not so much on the theory, but to accomplish the practical completion of any design. Imagine today, if we were to design a lot of things, design a car, we can put up computers, put it up on the computers, make a complete perfect drawing, But if there is nobody who's going to take this design and implement and construct it, then you will realize that it is, the whole concept is not complete, because you're only up to the design stage. There's no implementing stage, So this is the reason why the engineering technologies complement the engineers, and also part of the complete engineering team, which is actually very important to ensure any devices, systems, or inventions are actually successfully produced. Now, probably in Malaysia, the word engineering technologies is still very new to us, But back in the US, back in the US, engineering technologies is actually quite common, For example, even in NASA office, there is a special office called the Office of Chief Technologists, So this is actually an engineering technologies. They implement certain work out on the space, so it is actually controlled by the Office of the Chief Technologies. In addition to the Chief Technologies, we also have Principal Technologies in NASA, Special Technology Mission Directorate, Principal Technologies. These are also engineering technologies, and this has been existed in NASA for a long time, okay? Now, what about the European Space Agencies? European Space Agency also have a lot of engineering technologies, because they need them to actually implement and execute certain projects, right in the space, in their space program. So engineering technologies are also in the European Space Agency. Now, nuclear technologies, nuclear engineering technologies. This is also quite common. Instead of doing nuclear engineering design and projects in the office, you can see from these slides that These are the people who are out on the nuclear plant, nuclear plant, and performing and executing some of the works, that is related to the nuclear plant power production. So this is actually one slide where we show the nuclear engineering technologies, which is a crucial part member, crucial team member of the nuclear engineering. Now, what about in the aviation? In the aviation, we have this aircraft maintenance engineers, and they are the one who are actually involved in the aircraft maintenance, repair, and overhaul. So if you look at the description, aircraft maintenance, repair, and overhaul, basically is the role and the function of the engineering technologies, because they don't design. Very seldom they design. Some of them they do, but not very much. But majority, I would say, they are all on the maintenance, repair, and overhaul. These are actually the key people who actually certify the aircraft maintenance, aircraft airworthiness after maintenance. And again, these are the engineering technologies. And in Malaysia, the MRO industry is one of the most important economic contributor in the what you call it, in the economic aerospace sector. And engineering technologies, especially from the MRO sector, are actually one of the key contributor to the livelihood of these MRO activities. Now, this one is actually engineering technologies in the automotive industry. You realize that the automotive industry, especially now, we are getting autonomous car, electric cars, hydrogen cars, and all these cars that is coming into the industry, okay, are actually very, very well supported by the engineering technologies. Again, when the car is on the field, you don't need the design engineers to continue to design on the field, but we need the engineering technologies to are able to diagnose, troubleshoot, go dive into the system and see what is the problem on the autonomous vehicle or electric vehicle. And you will see that the engineering technologies are actually quite an expert in terms of diving into the system and integrate the system or even diagnose the systems and come up with a solution for whatever that has been designed. And most of the people that I've encountered, there are two groups in engineering. One group of people is people who are very good, very interested, and they are very strong in mathematics and design element. So these are the one group of engineers. We call them engineers who are very good at these specific skills. But there is also another group of people that I met in the past 15 years. There are also a group of people when they come back graduated from the pure engineering, and they came to see me and apply for a job to our company. And what they actually are interested is that this is a real experience. Actually, quite a few years ago, he said, "Ricky, I want to do what you are doing. I like to grow on the floor. I like to participate in the test flight. I want to go into the system diagnosis. I want to synthesize and analyze aircraft system real data. Can I do it or not?" So this is the group of people who are, I will call them, very strong inclination towards engineering technologies, where they like and enjoy the work in the field. So engineering technologies, basically, they are people who understand and have a strong knowledge of the system. At the same time, they like to be on the field and not on the office. So people who are engineering technologies is a very crucial part of the engineering team member. So IEM is launching these two grades of membership for recruitment for the engineering technologies to join us. The first group is IEM Engineering Technologies graduate member. If you're a graduate from the engineering technology field and you hold an accredited engineering technology degree, or if you are registered with the Board of Engineers as an engineering technologist, you can join us as an IEM Engineering Technologies graduate member. These are actually for people who are fresh graduate. You have done your engineering technology degree, accredited one, or you are registered with Board of Engineers. You are more than welcome to join us as a graduate member of engineering technologies in IEM. Now, there is also a group of people who have actually registered with the Board of Engineers as an engineering technologist, or they hold an engineering technology degree with minimum 3 years of relevant practical experience. Yeah, that means they have been practicing in the engineering technological field, doing work such as planning or implementing or management of engineering projects. Yeah, within the engineering profession, you can actually register as a IEM engineering technologist member. Yeah, so if you have 3 years experience, you are registered with the what do you call it, Board of Engineers. You are practicing in the engineering field, technological field, the relevant one. Then you can join us as an IEM engineering technologist member. Okay, so we would like to welcome all the engineering technologists. Please feel free to join us. We welcome you into the IEM, and this is the website and the barcode, the QR code, and the email address for you to join us. And we would like to, on behalf of the President of Institution of Engineers, we would like to welcome all engineering technologists, whether you're a graduate or whether you're experienced engineering technologist. Welcome you all to IEM. Thank you so much for the presentation today. Thank you.
Hi. Welcome to IEM. It is a great pleasure to meet you all today. I will introduce the engineering technician recruitment. If you are a technician, do you want your superior to pay a respect to you? Or to give a chance to you for promotion? Or provide a reward to you such as bonus or salary increment? Did you know, technicians have a huge impact on our daily life? Everything we see today, the products around us are also the result of their touch. Technicians have long played a role in the construction industry. Like home construction, technicians have been directly involved in installing electrical supplies, roofing, wall installation, insulation, and not forgetting, satellite TV, high-speed internet and smart home system installation. In addition, the technician is also very knowledgeable in vehicle assembly. In the booming of vehicle industry in Malaysia, the empowerment and skills of a technician are sorely needed. They are indispensable in the installation of vehicle components, engines, mirrors, the painting process, and the important place their skill after sales by providing routine maintenance work for customer vehicles. We are proud to have skyscrapers in Malaysia. Here, hundreds of technicians built the building. They are directly and indirectly in the work of electrical installations, fire systems, air conditioning systems, and so on. And they also connect the structure of the building. Now in the market, there is a lot of demand for technician positions. All fields in engineering, whether manufacturing, maintenance and hospital, require technicians. The position of technician is now gaining a name. On the initiative of the government, the position as a technician is now among the top choices of youth today. Most industries need technicians. Technicians earn a great pay. Technicians are now rewarded and they can earn excellent salaries. And many technicians today have the opportunity to own their own great business. We mention about the existence of a position as a technician is very important. Until it is considered a very popular career in the industry. But what exactly is the job of a technician? It is a career and not just a job. Technicians are everywhere and directly impact our quality of life. Technicians fall into the following categories: construction and maintenance, transportation, manufacturing, and services. Most people assume that a job as a technician is for those who do not have the opportunity to go to university. This is simply not true, and it's probably the most common misperceptions about technicians. The reality is that technicians require individuals with a strong academic foundation in reading and writing, math and science. Many people think that studying up to university level promises good job opportunities. But this is not possible at all. Achieving a certificate and qualification for technician is also a ticket to a good fortune, given the high demand, good pay, and travel opportunities involved. There are also many chances for advancement within a trade, from supervisory position to management positions, to the possibility of owning your own business. Most people also think that a job as a technician is a dirty job. There is no doubt that many technicians involve hands-on work. But this assumption needs to be refuted. This is why many people work in technician in the first place. For many jobs, this type of work is far more rewarding than a job that requires a lot of desk work. Technician to be dead-end jobs. But the reality is technician offer not just jobs, but careers. There are many chances for advancement within a technician, from supervisory positions to management positions, to the possibility of owning your own business. The level of advancement is up to the capacity and desire of the technicians. The last assumption, that a job as a technician is only for men. This assumption is wrong. The reality is physical work does not solely imply strength. In fact, skilled trades require dexterity, stamina, good hand-eye coordination and balance. These all attributes that women equally possess along with men. What skills are needed to be successful? Generally, a career in technician requires traits and talents such as good literacy, ability to solve problem, good communication skills, aptitude for technology, creativity and imagination, attention to detail, coordination and dexterity, visualization of the end product. IEM can help you for successful. IEM organizes many courses, seminars, talks and visits, which are of interest to the engineering profession. Through technical activities, the IEM member gets the opportunity to enhance his/her technical knowledge and skills. IEM organizes community service projects. With the organization, you can meet skills people of all disciplines, from various sectors, of all levels and age, and from all over the world. Various committees and subcommittees in the IEM will always welcome such participation, commitment, and enthusiasm from its members. Other benefit when joining IEM: with a strong and supporting secretariat provide guidance. You will receive monthly and quarterly publications. Member can access to a well-equipped library. Link to the internet and access to the information superhighway via internet. Well stocked with e-books, e-journals, books, magazines and CD-ROMs on various topics such as engineering, management and self-improvement. You can also establish relationship with other professional bodies concerning matters of mutual interest. If you want to find textbook reading materials and standards, IEM library contains more than 7,227 physical books. Don't worry about time. Most seminars or courses are held on weekends to give technicians the opportunity to participate in activities at IEM. In addition to gaining knowledge to improve skills and knowledge, IEM also provides an opportunity for technicians to joint technical visits to industries and mega project sites in Malaysia such as the MRT and Smart Tunnel. So don't waste any more time. Follow your dreams with joining IEM. You can become a supervisor or manager. You can become a trade instructor. You can also become a business owner. When you join IEM, you will be elected as IEM Engineering Technician Member. E.T.N.I.E.M. That, you need to register to Board of Engineer as Inspector of Works. B.E.M. has already recognized technician effective the 31st of July 2015. IEM give you the route to International Engineering Technician. When you registered IEM as Technician Member, you are eligible to register International Engineering Technician. With 5 years practical experience involving application of engineering knowledge, you can become International Engineering Technician. Join now, Engineering Technicians Member. Thank you.
IEM Convention in Engineer will be the must go-to event for the engineering community and industry. We look forward to welcoming you to Engineer 2021.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We hope our two presentations have provided good insight into the pathways for the engineering technologists and engineering technicians. We will now proceed with our Q&A session. Our panelists this morning are Mr. Ricky Liu. Mr. Liu is currently the head of engineering of SR Aviation Sdn Bhd. He has 31 years of experience as an aircraft engineer, including certifications of aircraft engines, airworthiness, post-maintenance, and inspections. He was an aircraft engineer with Malaysia Airlines, Ava Airways Corporation, and KLM Royal Dutch Airlines. Our second panelist, Engineer Pham Yu Hin. Engineer Pham is currently a member of the IEM Council and ESCOM. He is a professional engineer and fellow of IEM. Engineer Pham has more than 20 years of working experience in building services and other energy sectors. He has been involved in development, design, construction, and commissioning of various power generation plants, warehouses, and buildings. Our next panelist, Engineer Professor Dr. Nolida Bunyamin, first woman IEM Deputy President, graduated from the University of Adelaide, Australia in 1985 in electrical and electronic engineering. Dr. Nolida is currently a professor at University Technology Mara and chairman of the Engineering Technologists and Technician Accreditation Council. And our last panelist, Engineer Gunasegaran Krishnan. Engineer Guna graduated from the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, Michigan, USA, with a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering in 1984. He obtained his professional engineer status in 1990. He is also a fellow member of IEM and honorary fellow of AFIO. For information of participants online, kindly click on the raise hand icon and our IT will unmute your mic for you to pose the questions. Okay, panelists, we have the first question. It's from Mr. Wei Lok Chong. I am Wei Lok Chong, registered as engineering technologist with BEM during June 2019. Do I need to register it back after this launching ceremony? Any chance for the unrecognized degree by ETech, but recognized by MQA to graduate engineer by the pathway of the engineering technologist? We will be the pathway can let engineering technologists top up with master degree in engineering to get graduate engineer and then proceed to the professional engineer.
Thank you, Ms. Wali, for the kind introduction and also the question. This is actually a very long question, probably for us to tackle in few parts. I think I would tackle the front part. Probably after that, Professor Nolida will tackle the parts on the requirements, accreditation requirement, whether MQA is sufficient and so on. And so far as what are the benefits and the fee requirement, we will let Engineer Guna to tackle that, and maybe later on T.S. Ricky can also touch a little bit on what is your experience after you have joined IEM. Yeah. So I would like to clarify that BEM and IEM are actually two different entities. BEM, which is Board of Engineers Malaysia, is a regulator in Malaysia. Yeah. For us to practice engineering, whether you are engineers, whether you are technologists, whether you are technician, so long as if it is required under the REA, Registration of Engineers Act, I mean, the works that you've touched on is included in the REA, you will be required to actually register with BEM for you to practice that scope of work. Yeah. Whereas the institutions of engineers of Malaysia is actually an association. We are a learned association. We help our members to grow in terms of knowledge. We help our members to build network. We help our members to actually advance in whether a professional pathway or whether in the career itself. So I would like to take this opportunity to clarify that these are two entirely different organizations. And if you have registered with BEM, that is good. That means you have ticked the first box. Yeah, but the second box is this is where we are. We are launching the engineering technologies and engineering technician category of membership in IEM today, where previously our group or IEM is mainly focused on engineers. Yeah. So with this introduction, we would like to welcome engineering technologies and engineering technician to come into our family. And like we mentioned in our earlier speech, we would like to provide a platform so that all category of the players in the change of engineering workforce can interact together, can learn together, and to grow together. So I will pass the next question to Prof. Nolida. Thank you.
The question, if I can remember it, is if you have registered with the board previously, whether you need to register again. No. I mean, as Engineer Farm says, the board is the regulator and we are an association. If the board have allowed you to register previously, that means that your degree is recognized. So, and it must have come from one of the programs that is recognized by ETAC, or a program that is recognized in one of the member countries that follows the Sydney Accords. So don't worry, you can become our member as long as you are registered with the board as a technologist. And in terms of pathway, yes, the board has got the pathway for you from a technologist to become an engineer. Currently is whether you could do topping up. They're looking at master's degree topping up. But then at the moment, what the board is doing is they're making a pathway for you to become an engineering technologist professional. So there is plans for that will soon be announced for you to be able to become a professional technologist. You will get a certain title in front of your name, and you will be also in IEM after you have got your 3 years experience and so forth and go for the interview, will become a member at the full member level. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Prof. I hope that will give you a slight background, your courses, whether it's recognized by ETAC, so and the requirements to register with BEM. Yeah. So the next part of the question is actually what are the benefits, perhaps, of joining IEM? So I will pass it to Engineer Guna.
Okay, thank you, Engineer Farm. I'm very happy to hear the question, because basically when you ask a question, that means you are eager to go somewhere. The moment you want to go eager to somewhere, so the launching of IEM is the first step you should join. So become an IEM member, okay? The first step when you become an IEM member, don't ask what is IEM going to give me or what I'm going to benefit. You must also remember how I can give to benefit something. Always remember that way, so that you give first before you benefit. Even though there are a lot of benefits in joining IEM, I mean, okay, just to not list down the entire thing, but one of the main thing I noticed that you benefit a lot will be the networking sessions, because this is where you will find that we have the entire range. Okay, for example, here itself you see civil, electrical, mechanical, and aerospace, 3 different disciplines. And this is where you very difficult to find, because most of them are either very stereotype. You only see only electrical, only electrical. But here in IEM, it's very different. We are a whole family of trades. So networking and getting information for yourself to further improvement is here. You know, whenever you have doubt, because I have gone through, as an engineer, when I have issues, I look at the senior engineers for help. And they are more than willing to help for free, no charges, nothing, because this is always where you can get networking done. I think that is one of the key things of them. Maybe we can go to the next question, because as you know, there's a lot of benefits. Okay.
Can I just add a few things? I think joining IEM, you can actually learn from others as well, who is already in the forefront of their profession. So you meet them and they can mentor you. And another thing is we are very, very active in webinars, seminars, and conferences. And you don't have to pay for it, or you just pay very, very little as a member. We have our libraries. We have network throughout the whole of ASEAN. And when you go to ASEAN for work and all that, you have friends already of all the other institutions of engineers within ASEAN. So come to IEM, your networking will tremendously increase. Okay?
Thanks, Prof. and Engineer Guna. Perhaps I'm sure a lot of you, since this membership grade is new, a lot of you may question, maybe still in, thinking what are the benefits of joining this new category of a membership. On our right-hand side is T.S. Ricky. Yeah, he has been very long in the aerospace sector. Yeah, so of course, T.S. Ricky has joined us now as engineering technologies member, and I would like to invite him to actually share what is the experience for the past months. I think being active in IEM. Engineering, T.S. Ricky.
Thank you, Engineer Pham. Yeah. What I can see from the past 32 years of experience in the aviation industry, we realized that I'm speaking from the perspective of the aircraft engineering perspective. Yeah. What I realized is that we have been very silo. We keep very well within our group. Yeah. When you say within our group means within the aviation group. So we have a very strong bond in the aviation group. There's nothing bad about this, but what about expanding it beyond aviation? Actually, last time we do not have an avenue. Last time we do not have an avenue until the Board of Engineers in 2018. Yeah, they did a very thorough study of the equivalency of the Civil Aviation Authority Malaysia aircraft engineer's license. They did a very thorough study, and then they put and accepted the aircraft engineers for registration in the Board of Engineers. And because of the aircraft engineers are able to register with the Board of Engineers, we also had another path that is with our registration with Board of Engineers. We are also able to come into the joint IEM as a member. Of course, depending on the category of license that you hold, you can be registered in Board of Engineers as a graduate engineer, engineering technologies, or even IOW. It's actually an engineering technician. So we came in, a group of us, yeah, a couple of us came into IEM back in 2018. And that is where we start to see things beyond aviation. That means last time we were not connected to civil, we were not connected to the electrical, we were not connected to the all the other engineering discipline. We actually start getting to get connected with them. So this is a very, very powerful network that opened up our eyes. What is beyond aviation? And in IEM, historically, since 1959, it was established. It is a very well established, it has a very strong established mechanism for professional development, mechanism for you to improve and open up your network. And that is a very, very powerful in an engineering institution. And on top of that, it is an avenue for you to build up your leadership by participating, by taking up responsibility in IEM. It is also an avenue actually for the engineers to actually build up all the knowledge and skills. Like Prof. Nolida has mentioned, IEM library. Wow, I love IEM library. Especially when I'm not working on Saturday, I try my best to come to IEM library because there's so much of very, very nice engineering books there that actually we can use to improve our knowledge is in IEM. I mean, last time in MS, in other companies, we have the library. But when I checked recently, do you have a library in your company? Do you have a library, engineering library in your company? There's already a few companies that I asked, they don't have. They are not willing to invest in books. And IEM resources are so good. So that is why I said it is a good avenue for engineering technologies, engineering technician, or even the engineers to actually fully utilize the resources in IEM, and you will see that you will grow in your career. Yeah, thank you, Engineer Pham.
Thank you, T.S. Ricky. Maybe we pass back to Ms. Wali. Is there any, maybe you can table the next question?
Yes, Engineer Pham, we've got strings of questions lined up for all of you. Okay. So I'll move on to the next question. It's from T.S. Chan Kung Leong. He says, good morning, I get to know and interested about the International Engineering Technologies Register. I'm currently a professional technologist registered with the Malaysia Board of Technologists MBOT since 2018, a graduate member of IEM since 2012, BEM graduate engineer since 2005, and also engineering technologies registered with BEM in 2019. Do I need to convert to IEM Engineering Technologies member to get admitted to International Engineering Technologies Register? Any exemption of professional interview assessment for those who already are registered professional technologists with MBOT for admission to the IEM Engineering Technologies member? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vali. So there's a few questions there. I'll repeat what I said earlier. So we are not a regulator. We follow our constitution, and our constitution says, our new constitution says that if you are a technologist registered with the board, you can become our member. That's it. And once you are our member and we sign the agreements for all the international agreements for technologists and technicians, and we hope to get it by next year, then you will be recognized in all the countries that signed the Seoul Accord, my apologies, that signed the Dublin Accord and the Sydney Accords for technologies. So there is no question of who you register with. As long as you're registered with the board, which means that your degree for technologies is Sydney Accord, or for engineers is Washington Accord, then you are eligible to become a member of IEM as a graduate member. To be able to become a professional member, similar to engineering or engineers, they will need to sit for a certain interview. And for technologists, we will have also an interview soon, because you need 3 years experience and registered before you can apply for one. I think that's about it.
Yep. Thanks, Prof. Yeah, the details of the professional interview for technologies or competency grade for the nation will be made known very soon. At the moment, like Prof. Nolida has mentioned, is still in the final stage of the on the drawing board, and it will be announced to all interested parties as soon as possible. Thank you.
Of course, we are bounded by waiting for the board. The board will be announcing it first before we can announce it. So they are our regulators. Yeah. So don't worry, just wait for a while. Then the board will have a professional technologies category. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe Ms. Wali, the next question.
Okay, thank you, Engineer Pham. Okay, the next question is from Mr. Lai Yun Yao. We understand that BEM will introduce professional engineering technologists in future once BEM amend the Engineer Act. Will this have any impact on changes on IEM technologies grade, example, to upgrade to corporate grade, or still remain non-corporate grade?
So basically, if you look at our amended constitution in IEM, actually we have 4 new grades of membership. Yeah. So the first grade of membership for technologies is actually graduate member. Yeah, for technologies. So the pathway that we are anticipating, which will be announced very soon, is that after the candidates or our graduate members accrue certain numbers of working years, 3 years of working experience in the relevant sector, then they can actually apply to sit for an interview, an interview with the details to be disclosed later. And upon satisfying these criteria, the candidates or our graduate member can then be transferred to a grade that we will call it professional technologies within IEM. So in that manner, I hope we have answered the question. There is actually already 2 category, 2 different membership within IEM, where our new technologies member as well as our new engineering technician members will have a pathway within IEM.
Just to add to that a little bit, remember, similar to the engineers, your experience is not counted unless you have registered. So as a technologist, please register with the board and we will count your experience. Okay?
Yeah, engineer farm. I think the question is more into our grades, basically the corporate and non-corporate member, because at the moment the engineering technologies fall under the non-corporate members. So they want to know if become a professional engineer, can they be upgraded to become as corporate? That is something I think we have to amend our constitution. I'm not sure, unless Prof. Nolida might know.
Well, there is already a seat for one technologist on the council. Yeah, so you are heard on the council already automatically. And we will have to have a look at how many technologies register with us. We cannot give so many seats on the council if there are only very few technologies registered. So we will probably come back to that within 6 months or so. And well, we've just launched it and we will have a look at how it goes.
Thank you. I hope that actually satisfies the question from T.S. Chan. T.S. Chan, right? And Ms. Wali? T.S. Lai.
Yes, T.S. Lai, Mr. Lai Yun Yao. Okay. Okay, we move on to the next question from Mr. Lim Jong Kiat. I am Lim, a registered inspector of works for BEM and an associate member with IEM. I would like to know if associate member with IEM can convert to the new grades without any cost because I've just renewed my membership.
Thank you. Mr. Lim, that is a very good question. In fact, if you are already associate members in IEM, you would have received our letter. Yeah, in the past, I think in the past 3 months, we have initiated a process whereby we will actually screen through the qualification of all of our associates as well as incorporated members. If they meet the requirements, we will issue an invitation letter to each individual to invite them to transfer to the new grades. Yeah. So if you have not, I would advise you, Mr. Lim, you can write an email to us in IEM and we will check and we will revert back to you as soon as possible. Next.
Okay, we'll go to the next question. Okay, from Engineer Technologies, Dr. Tan Kim Sia. He has 2 questions. Question number 1. In BM, there is no registration for graduate engineering technologists. All engineering technologies graduates shall register as engineering technologists with the BEM. Is this group of registered person entitled to enroll directly into IEM Engineering Technologies member instead of IEM Engineering Technologies graduate member? That is his first question. Do you want to answer that first or shall I read out the second question?
Okay, if I get it correctly, you are registered with the board as a technologist.
Yes.
And if you're registered with the board as technologist, then you are recognized as a technologist in this country as a graduate technologist where you pay 50 ringgit for your registration and that's it. You are not yet a professional technologist with the board. So you can be our member as a graduate technologist member of IEM, similar and equal to graduate engineering members of IEM.
Okay, there's a second question for engineering technologies graduate member to engineering technologies member. Is it required to sit for professional assessment or outcome-based professional interview?
Thank you. Again, Dr. Tan. Yeah. So basically, yes, if you are a graduate member, upon applying and registered as a graduate member, a technologist member in IEM, there is a process which will be made known very soon. What are the requirements, how many years, and the process for you to apply so that you can be qualified as a professional technologist within IEM. Yeah. So this process at the moment is in the final stage and it will be made known to the public as soon as possible. And in short, yes, you can.
Thank you, Engineer Pham. We move on to the next question from Wei Lok Chung. What is the difference between professional technologies under MBOT and engineering technologies under BEM? Any endorsement like practicing professional engineer will be implemented for engineering technologies?
Okay, both MBOT and BEM are regulators, except that MBOT also include within their registration technologies that are not within the engineering area. So they do register, for example, food technologies and so forth. However, with the BEM, they only register engineering technologies from programs that are accredited within IEA requirements. So in Malaysia, that is checked by the ETAC. And in other countries, they also have their body to check accreditation. As long as these technologies comes from countries that have signed up with IEA and also follow the Seoul Accord for their education, there is not a problem to register with the board.
That's right, Prof. So in IEM, from IEM perspective, it is the same. As of now, we register engineering technologies and engineering technician. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The next question from Aaron Chang Duan Zian. How do we differentiate who can register under MBOT or BEM or IEM? How do we know which one to apply for? What are the difference, or can they register for either one of both? A local institution was asking about DKM level 4, not recognized by MQA as is under JPK, if their graduates are also eligible for this registration.
Okay, I'll get back to that. All right. You can register for both MBOT and BEM. Both parties are regulators, except that with BEM, the technologies that they allow to register are only engineering technologies. Now, MBOT register all, so the technologies can register with MBOT, with the exception that if you register with the board, then we will be under the REA, the regulations where you can only work in Malaysia in an engineering organization or practicing engineering for technologies if you are registered with the board. But you are free to register with both, except that if you want to practice engineering technologies in an engineering field, engineering services, it is compulsory to register with the board. And that for us in IEM, we are not the regulators, except that we are also looking at engineering team. So we will only allow engineering technologies to register with IEM.
Thank you, Engineer Professor Dr. Nolida. For participants online, kindly click on raise button icon, and we will actually unmute you, or we will read out your questions from the chat box. If there's any more questions for you, for our panelists to answer. Okay, for now, I think there are no more questions from our online attendees.
Thank you, Ms. Wali.
Yes.
Probably I will take over for some discussion over here between the panel members, panelists. Yeah. So perhaps to all the participants out there, you may be you heard a lot of mobility, yeah, regional or international mobility, because the world has changed so much. We cannot just concentrate in our own country, just like T.S. Ricky has mentioned. Yeah, sometimes when you go across, go to other places, you grow your business elsewhere, you will see some horizon, some new horizon. Yeah? So in that sense, I will later on pass through this question to Prof. Nolida, Engineer Guna, as well as to Ricky, because for us in IEM, as you hear from our president speech this morning, we are in the process of applying to be the signatory of IETA as well as AIET. Yeah? So this is actually international organization, among others, can promote mobility of engineering technologies and technicians from Malaysia. So I would like to invite Prof. Nolida probably to give a little bit insight. What is these two organizations and what does that benefits then supplemented by Engineer Guna? Yep, thank you.
Well, so far we have only had experience with mobility for engineers. But of course, we have been looking for technologies. Now, as Engineer Farm has mentioned, once we sign the agreements, and you will be recognized to work in those countries, the 8 countries that have signed the agreements. And as long as your degree in Malaysia comes from an ETAC accredited degree. Now, but even before we sign those, we have what is called ASEAN Technologists under AFIO, which is the ASEAN Federation of Engineering Organization. Now, to tell you a little bit about ASEAN engineers at the moment, if you have that card, some of our friends or countries that is within AFIO, their engineers are all over the world based only on that card. And I will use the Philippines as an example. Their ASEAN engineer, Philippines, are all over Middle East. And I hope that technologies will get the same recognition. In fact, we had a few talks and conferences within AFIO. When there was a little bit of a turn down in the Middle East, they kept the ASEAN engineers. And they asked engineers that are not without the ASEAN engineers, they dismissed them when they had to bring down a little bit the numbers of engineers in those countries. So there is a value of joining IEM, because you can therefore after this be part of AFIO family, and you will get a card that says there that you are an ASEAN technologist. And when you travel within any of the AFIO countries, you get the same rights as technologists in that country. Well, 10% here, 10% there, your hotel, and you can get to go and get help from their institution as well. So come and join, and you will find a lot more of the benefits. In fact, that we have yearly conferences, we have yearly exhibitions for engineers, and I hope also for technologists in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, I very much agree with Prof. Nolida, our Deputy President. Prof, just to recall, the members, once you join the IEM members, with respect to participating in AFIO, they call it ASEAN Federation, you know, just like how the graduate engineers are treated, and they have got their own platform to highlight their what do you call, their achievements and their standings and all those things. Yeah? The engineering technologists also, we invite them. Unless we don't have the numbers with IEM, we can't shine like other countries like Philippines or other things. So the membership is very important. That's why today we take some time off just to answer some of your questions. The necessity for you to come and join IEM so that the population of engineering technologists grow. And with that, I can tell you, when you grow, you shine. When you shine together with IEM, it's very good because you're with the engineering team. So this is where we are trying to say, one of the mobility The mobility is there. Our prof is leading it. She's leading it for a couple of years. I mean, the mobility is there, but do we have the people? There's no point I am creating all these avenues when we don't have it. So I just like to put forward, if possible, come and join IEM. You will find, how this joining IEM helps you in networking. Next, mobility. Next, some other things I'm sure somebody will tell you. So with that short notes, basically the mobility is open. Come and join and get the family bigger. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Kuna. Probably TS Ricky, you want to supplement your experience, yeah? Probably, you have also gone overseas, yeah, from our chat, very much you have been involved in regional mobility.
Yep. I think one of the good things about IEM is that they are the secretariat for AFIO, yeah, ASEAN Federation of Engineering Organization, which organize annually, I think by 2 times a year, where they have conferences. Okay, I happened to participate the one in Singapore, and it was amazing. It was amazing. Why did I say this amazing? There's so many knowledgeable conferences that we usually hard to get to hear and listen from the professionals. And during my year, I was very lucky in Singapore, and I get to hear from Professor Engineer Chua, and he's so famous, and his lecture will just capture you, and the amount of knowledge that is giving to us, to the younger generation especially, it is so beneficial. And for me, I look at it as we can take and carry that knowledge and develop into further and implement and pass it on to the next generation for the benefit of the engineering fraternity. AFIO is one of the platforms. And today you heard about the International Engineering Technologies Agreement, as well as the agreement from the International Engineering Technician. These 2 agreements plus the AFIO through the platform of IEM actually give us a very strong mobility between the countries internationally. And many of us, yeah, are young engineers in the industry. You are very young, 20-something, 30-something, and you all can be part of IEM. What I'm trying to say here is that if you are such a young, you still have another 20, 30 years with you. And this mobility, which means that you want to be an expatriate, you want to cross border, you want to work in other countries which require your specialists. Where is the platform is going to help you? It is in IEM. It is in IEM. Because I can see it, because I'm in the committee, I participated in a lot of these activities, and I'm hopeful, I'm very hopeful that the engineers, engineering technologies, and even technician, you come in. Once you come in, and if you participate, you will see it will open up a different new horizon to you, for you, and you will see the opportunities for you to move cross-border. Cross-border means you are recognized because you are part of the IEM members, and also you can become an expatriate among all these countries. These are all the bright future waiting for you all to come in. Yeah, thank you.
Well, if I may add, yeah, the AFIO, the yearly meets are not only formal, it is informal. We have the women engineers and the young engineers. They also set up their own activities during that time. So there'll be cultural activities, there will be cycling, there will be hiking. So you make friends from other countries while having fun, as well as formally learning. And this friendship, once you want to go and work in another country, they are just a phone call away to help you out. So you need to join and you need to participate. It's no use to just join. You won't get the benefits. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. and TS Ricky. So, Ms. Wali, we have another 4 minutes. I would suggest let's each of our panelists who do a short conclusion. Yeah. So maybe let me start first. Yeah. So basically, I think a lot have been talked about, the difference between BEM as well as IEM, as well as other regulating bodies early on. We hope that this forum provide a clear message. What are the differences between these entities, and what are the differences in function of these entities? Yeah, and of course, come to membership. Um, our colleague here has touched a lot on what is the facilities within IEM, how do we help you to grow in terms of networking and knowledge, as well as the international mobility and the pathway. But I would also like to share with you that in the past few years, we have started a membership card and the merchant program. So when we go everywhere, people will say, your benefits is a little bit intangible. Yeah, so you can only grow in terms of few years, then you will see the result. I want to tell you, if you join us, you have a tangible benefits immediately, because with this membership merchant card, when you buy, for instance, cars, for instance, books, for instance, safety PPE, you will get a discount from the participating merchant. Yeah, I think this is one of the most popular. In the past few years, people are approaching us to get the letter to purchase cars like BMW, Proton, and Volvo. Yeah, so I'm sure this will bring benefits to you immediately. So hope to see you all in IEM very soon. Thank you, and we'll pass it to Engineer Prof. Dr. Nolida. Thank you.
Well, I think I've said enough in this little short forum of how you can benefit. But let us go to the other side. Being a member of IEM, being an institution, you then have a voice. You have a voice to shape the direction of technologies in this country using the IEM platform. Yeah, IEM also sits on many governmental decision-making committees, and let us have technologists that will sit on committees that make decisions for technologies. So come and join IEM, help our country to grow the technologies areas, and be part of nation building as a technologist. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for Prof. Noor. Actually, today, as you all know, is the launching of our technologies grade and the technician grade. All I have to say is, come and join us and reap the benefits. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Kuna. Yes, Ricky.
Okay, I think one of the key mindset that we need to have is that we as technical people, whether we are engineers or engineering technologists or engineering technician, we need to do a self-reflection and look back into ourselves. How long have we been in the profession? All right. Do a self-reflection and see for ourselves how long have we been in the profession. Are we going to stay on stagnant like this, or are we going to find an avenue so that we can continue to develop ourselves? While developing ourselves, we actually bring benefit to the nation. Okay. Now, I think all of you know we are having some issues, the Malaysian. The STEM participation STEM professionals, yeah, we are terribly lacking in the STEM professionals. STEM means science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And we need these people to come out and then be a bigger part of the community through the platform of IEM. And if you have heard from Dr. Nolida just now, we are actually on a lot of important government initiative body. IEM is part of it. And from there, you can actually bring inputs into the nation's development. And I think if you're a part of it, I think in life, yeah, we look back at ourselves, apart from cari makan, what have we contributed back to the nation and also our children and grandchildren? It is actually through the platform of IEM. And I would like to say that it's through the platform of IEM, because the machinery, the mechanism in IEM is very well established, and they have been there for many, many years. Yeah, thank you. 62 years. Yeah. So welcome to IEM. Thank you.
Thank you, TS. Back to you, Ms. Wali.
Okay. I thank you, Engineer Pham, and thank you to all the panelists who has actually given great insights of all the questions posted by the attendees. As there are no more questions from our online attendees, and we have actually come to the end of our session. We would like to thank everyone for your attendance this morning. We will flash the QR code to download the online application form if you wish to submit your application. Once again, thank you for joining us this morning. Have a great weekend ahead. Please stay safe and stay healthy. It's goodbye for now.
Okay, thank you guys.